Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unskilled Travel Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Long, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We have a really interesting and fun show for you, all about these peer-to-peer travel platforms and renting platforms, all designed to make your life easier. And you wouldn't believe how many exist, number one. And number two, how many can make your life easier for those of you that are maybe thinking about living life on the road, or you're already on the road. There's so many. We'll get to the ones we can't.
Right.
That was what we saw a little bit of, like just researching this. There's so many peer-to-peer platforms, rental platforms, such as Airbnb and things like that, to that kind of intertwine with travel.
Yeah, but what I didn't know is that you can rent so much more than just someone's house.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about. Some of the interesting things that you can rent that other people own to enhance your travel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it covers a wide breadth of stuff that I didn't even, honestly, until we started researching, I didn't know a lot of these even existed.
I didn't either.
So let's jump into it, into the ones that people probably know the most, right? And these are rental properties, but it did start out with a travel dream. You know, you wanted to maybe go see Yellowstone, but you didn't have an RV or whatever. You didn't want to stay in a hotel. You wanted an authentic experience. So you started looking around like, I wonder if I could stay on that farm. I don't know. I don't know what the actual dream was, but it started off with something pretty close to that. Airbnb started in 2008.
Did it?
Yeah. Actually, the founders had an idea of putting up an air mattress in their living room and basically turning it into a bed and breakfast.
Oh,
they were former schoolmates and roommates and everything like that. And so that's kind of where this idea was born. And it's really evolved so much. I mean, it's evolved so far now from those humble air mattress beginnings to a company worth literally billions of dollars and found all over the world.
Right. And we have stayed at a few Airbnbs. The thing that I do like about it is that on their website, you can kind of put in what you're looking for. If maybe you don't want just a typical house experience. Maybe you want to stay in a tree house, or you want to stay in some type, what do they call them? A barn dominium. Yeah. You can go in and type in or look up different types of homes if you want a different experience. And that's what I do really like about the Airbnb site, is it makes it easy to find these unique stay experiences.
It has a really catchy name too. It kind of flows off the tongue there, right? The other one would be Vrbo. Mm-hmm. VRBO, for those who may not know its reaches or whatever, but Vrbo is so much older than Airbnb, and I didn't even know that, because I found it out in the opposite order there. I heard about Airbnb first and then Vrbo, but Vrbo actually started in 1995, believe it or not, out of Colorado. A gentleman, the guy who started it, he was a retired teacher. His goal was to rent his Breckenridge ski condo and, you know, make some extra cash and everything. By 2006, Vrbo had over 65,000 rental listings, was adding almost 100 every single day. And originally it was a subscription-based model, and it's evolved as well over the years. But you're talking about at least off the top of our heads, the two that are probably most well-known.
Right. I have looked at VRBO. I think that is the one that when we went and stayed in Florida in a condo, we did it through VRBO. I can't remember. It's been a while, but I know we've used both Airbnb and VRBO. I kind of feel like VRBO is like, well, when I looked, it was more like nicer properties, whereas Airbnb seemed to be more like experience type properties. And it may just be what I'm looking for when I go on those, but I kind of view them a little bit differently.
So you hit on a good point here, I think, without even trying. Originally, it was called VRBO. And do you know what the VRBO stood for?
No clue.
Vacation Rentals by Owner.
Okay.
So now it's just Vrbo, and that's how you pronounce it, Vrbo. So it's really kind of interesting to see how far. Look, we grew up at a different time. Okay. And now
You're dating us right now.
I'm starting to talk about Uber and Lyft and all of these things. We grew up in a time period where our parents specifically told us,
don't get in a car with a stranger.
don't get in cars with strangers.
Don't go to people's houses you don't know.
Don't go to people's houses that you don't know. And now we're like, I would love to stay in a stranger's bed.
This is true.
On a farm in the middle of nowhere.
True. Well, I mean, that's a good point. So we've stayed in some vacation rentals that it seemed like it was purely a vacation rental. Nobody lived there full time.
Yeah.
We also stayed in one that was very much somebody's like primary home. All their photos were on the wall. Do you remember the house I'm talking about?
Oh no! What house is this?
The one at Lake Tahoe.
Oh,
all their photos were on the wall. They had a bedroom that was locked. We couldn't go in there. I think it was their master
so
one.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and like their food was in the pantry, but we weren't supposed to eat their food. Like it was weird. It was almost like they're like, "Hey, we need to make a little bit of money. Let's rent our house out this week."
Oh man, I totally forgot about that. I was thinking about the working farm.
That one was very cool.
Because it was a separate house away from the main house. So like unless you wanted to see the folks who ran it, who were very nice people, they were there, they were home. You didn't have to interact with them if you didn't want to. You had your own driveway and all of that stuff. Like you didn't have to see them at all. But it was a real live working farm. They had horses and chickens and other things that you might find on a farm. I can't think. But it was two very different experiences.
Well, and on the farm, we stayed in that separate house, but they did also rent out rooms inside their house. Now, that's something I don't want to do. I don't want to stay in a room in someone's house while the homeowners are still there. I know lots of people do it. They don't have a problem with it, but maybe it's just my introvertedness. I don't want to have to wake up and talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to wake up and put clothes on to go get some coffee downstairs.
To me, I know, because you just walk around naked getting coffee here. To me, that's a little bit too much like a bed and breakfast. Like you're running a bed and breakfast at that point. Or that I'm staying at a bed and breakfast. And you know how I feel about those. I don't want to do that either. So, I mean, just you kind of look at, I mean, not that either one of these aren't without their faults either. The last few years, both of these companies and companies just like them have come under intense scrutiny, not only here in the United States, but also around the world, with partly being blamed for driving up rental prices for local residents in the cities that they operate in, especially smaller towns, smaller European towns. Spain isn't too happy with them right now, kind of taking their aggression out on tourists and all that stuff.
Well, we've talked before about how this is probably contributing to over-tourism in a lot of places that they weren't built to have this many tourists, and they don't have this many hotel rooms, but because of vacation rentals, they're inviting more people into their cities. Yeah.
And I think all of these, every single one that we'll talk the good and the bad as we see it, but you start seeing a trend. Everything that started out as a good idea, we just can't help it as human beings, man. Sometimes greed gets the best of us, but it does solve a lot of problems, because for a while there, hotels were out of control with extra fees here in Las Vegas, especially. I mean, we have those dreaded resort fees that, the hotel price is $100 for 2 days. But with the resort fees and all the other ticky-tacky fees, now all of a sudden you're paying $500 a night for rooms. And it's a very real thing. But also Airbnb, and Vrbo have, more Airbnb have come under fire for their absurd cleaning fees and rules that people put in place there. Like all of a sudden that $200 rental is going for close to $1,000 with cleaning fees. But then on top of that, they put in rules like, hey, you need to clean the whole room. Yeah. You need to wash all the dishes. You need to do this and you need to do that. So, how do you feel about it? I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn both ways, but hey, as long as people still rent, they'll still keep putting it out there, right? That's the Unscaled Travel Show. We're going to have more. Stay with us.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Remember, for all of our past episodes and interviews, you can find us on unscaledtravelshow.com. I'm here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking all about some of these peer-to-peer travel platforms, rental platforms, all of the above, right? We were just chatting about Airbnb and Vrbo, but now it started getting into some I don't know. You have to kind of step out of the box here.
Right.
Looking at some of these water adventures and some private pool listings.
Yeah, I didn't know that you can rent somebody's pool for a pool party, or just like, hey, I want to have somebody else's pool to myself for a day. And yeah, there is a site called Swimply. Is that how you say it?
Absolutely.
Where you
Great
can
name.
rent somebody's pool.
Yeah.
And it is a little weird to me because as a pool owner, do you want a bunch of people just in your yard, in your pool? And B, isn't there a lot of like insurance you need for that?
I would think so. I would think you would need a ton of insurance for this, right? Because it was, for years, well, even now, like we are kind of iffy about letting people into our pool area because we've had neighbors boldly just ask us, hey, can we come use your pool? And we're like, no, because if you slip and fall, like I'm liable for
Exactly.
it. So I don't know how the insurance works. I'm not dinging them for that. I'm just saying it's got to be complicated, right?
But even saying that, like we have kids, they've had friends over, get in the pool. We've had them break some stuff. Like now you're just going to invite total strangers over. I assume there's probably waivers and things you have them sign, but I don't know. I don't think I would just trust a group of strangers in our backyard and in our pool.
Well, you wouldn't. Okay, so you wouldn't rent on something like this, but would you take advantage of it? And more of this is looking at it from the point of view of, say, you're doing van life, hashtag van life. Okay, you don't have a pool or whatever, and the KOA just isn't cutting it anymore. You want a little time to yourself. Maybe you're meeting up, having a little van life pool party. You want a nice little area. Like I'm looking at one right now. I'm on Swimply.com, right? And they dubbed it the Mad Men pool. Why? I don't know. I think it's from a scene out of Mad Men, but it's an indoor pool area in the Portland, Oregon area, and you can rent it for $80 an hour. To me, that's a pretty good deal.
You would do this?
I would.
You who don't like public pools because you don't know what other people are doing in them would go get in somebody else's pool. You would pay to get in somebody else's pool?
But this isn't a public pool. This is someone's private pool. Yeah, but
you don't know how well it was cleaned before you got there.
Well, you can smell chlorine. Chlorine kills most of the things I'm going to do in that pool anyway.
Oh, so, okay. Okay.
But Swimply not only does pools, here's the fun part, right? You can also rent pickleball courts, tennis courts, basketball courts at people's homes.
Again, didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, look at that. Like, have you ever just wanted to like play a pickup game of basketball with you and I don't know, some of your closest friends at a stranger's house?
At some stranger's mansion who has a basketball court.
Where I grew up, we had a neighbor that was on the corner, an old man. And I think he put up a hoop for his grandson one year. And like we saw his grandson once, never saw his grandson again. I don't know what happened to that kid. But we used to try to play all the time on this hoop that was above the garage, one of those old school. And he would chase us every single time. And I'm not lying when I'm saying this. I'm not being figurative. He would chase us out of the yard with like a broom handle.
So he was not on Swimply.
He was 1 star. He was not a recommended Swimply.
I assumed when you said rent people's basketball area that it was like those homes that have a basketball court, not just a hoop over the garage.
I don't know. Like this one is a pickleball court. It's a pickleball, and right beside it, they have a tennis court, and it's on someone's private, property, and you can rent it by it's only $27.50 an hour. That's a good deal.
Okay.
Is
so
it?
People are turning their homes into private event venues, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically doing that. The opposite, well, not opposite. It's speaking, staying with water. you can also rent people's boats. It's kind of like Uber with boats, which how's the insurance work on that as well, right?
I mean, you can rent boats from a lot of water sport places. So what's the difference? Is it cheaper maybe? And maybe this goes back to the whole, why would you rent from an individual when you can rent from a company?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm not a boater. I don't know what the difference would be, but I think as somebody who owns a boat, it seems a little dangerous to just let somebody take your boat out.
Yeah.
How do you know they're coming back with it?
This one is called Get My Boat. That's a little aggressive there. You better get my boat. But they have everything from Bayliner cruisers to looks like more yacht style, luxury yachts and pontoon boats and all kinds. I mean, boats are expensive too. Look at this.
Are they assuming that you know how to captain a boat? Is captain the right word?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just thinking that. I was like, because you wouldn't want me, because I could come up with $150 for an hour of playing around on a boat, but can I drive it well?
I mean, I do know someone, every year they rent a sailboat, but they rent a sailboat with a captain, and that's one of their vacations is they go out into the Pacific for like a week on this boat, but they do it through a boat company. It's not through just an individual person they found online.
You know some hoity-toity people, though.
Maybe.
And yeah, I just said hoity-toity. So there's Get My Boat. There's also another one called Boat Setter. And it's kind of sounds like, house setter or something like that. Jet setter. But you also had that opportunity. I mean, it's kind of wild now. I mean, it used to be like you didn't. I keep going back to how it used to be. I know it's not that anymore, but these different experiences where you can make a little extra money off something that otherwise might just be, sitting in in the marina or something like that. But a stranger just coming up and saying, "Hey, I'm going to take your fishing boat out for a while, catch some fish," is one thing, but I'm going to rent your luxury yacht.
I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, we grew up not far from a beach, and I remember people going to the beach, renting beach cabins for a week, but most of them did it through a rental agency, and that's what they did. They weren't renting directly from the homeowners, but I guess this has just made it more accessible, and it's cut out that middleman. Like you just work kind of directly with the owner of the boat or the pool or the pickleball court to say, "Hey, I want to rent your space."
All of these just really ideal for different scenarios. A weekend boat trip, a day on the lake. Because I've told you before, like I don't want to own a boat, but I'd like to go out on a boat just for a day, like once a year or something like that, because it is fun. But I don't want to deal with the maintenance and all that. So this kind of cures that problem. I think you would have to look at it a little bit deeper, find out what exactly you would need to do.
And if you have a boat you don't use, why not make some money on it?
Make some cash, right? It's all about cold hard cash. Keep it right here. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We're going to have more right after this.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, talking about peer-to-peer rental platforms that can make your life easier. Whether you're looking for weekend excursions or you're living life on the open road, you can find all kinds of rental services that'll make your day-to-day life just a little bit easier. We've talked about Airbnb and Vrbo, also places like Swimply, where you can rent someone's swimming pool by the hour, or if you want a boat setter and Get My Boat, places like that. Now let's kind of focus back onto the road here. People often think of Uber and Lyft. Now Uber and Lyft are rideshare services, so it's more so of you catching a ride somewhere, catching a ride to the airport or the ball game, or if you've had a couple too many adult beverages getting around town, okay? It's usually safe. There's been some issues.
We've been in some questionable.
We've been in some really questionable, especially Uber is probably the most well-known, and it's found around the world. Mm-hmm. We've ridden in Ubers in Mexico, in Paris, in Portugal.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Every one of them is a very unique experience.
Yes, it is.
I've ridden in some in Florida that I would call that just like a third world experience right there. It's been fun. But there are also ones where you can actually rent the vehicle itself and take off. And you actually had an experience in one of these about a decade ago.
I didn't even know this was a thing. And I was in San Francisco about 10 years ago for work. And I needed to get out of the city. Like I needed to go drive out of the city to pick something up. And I didn't want to have to go like officially rent a car to drive me out there. And I knew if I paid a taxi or a rideshare service, it was going to be very expensive. And someone I know who lives in San Francisco said, check out Zipcar. I'd never heard of this, but Zipcar is a service where people who own cars in San Francisco, well, in other places, but they park their car in certain lots with the keys there, and you can go on to the service and rent the car for an hour or 4 hours, whatever you need, and it tells you where the car's parked. There's sometimes an attendant there, but sometimes not, and it tells you exactly where the keys are, and you can just take the car, and then you bring it back to another Zipcar parking lot. So basically, if you have a car that you're not driving all the time, you can rent it out to other people to drive.
That is fantastic.
I will say, though, driving in certain cities is scary, and here you are putting your car at somebody else's mercy. So I don't know that I would do it, but it was very convenient for me. I actually did it several times, and it was a very convenient service. But it was something I didn't even know existed until that time.
So speaking of that, I mean, if you are doing something like you're driving an RV around or a Sprinter van or something like that, and you don't have an extra vehicle, those kind of vehicles, especially like the ones like maybe your parents or grandparents have 42 feet, 44 feet. It's not the easiest thing to navigate on, say, the San Francisco streets or something like that. So a ride service like Zipcar or these other ones like Turo, Turo, or some of these other ones could help fill that void. And like you mentioned, which was a really good point, going to a traditional car rental place is just the biggest pain sometimes.
And a lot of times you have to go back towards an airport or some other major part of the city. And depending on where you're located, it may cost you just as much to get to the rental car place as it is going to cost you to rent a car for a day. Yeah. And so if you only need a car for a couple of hours, definitely consider Turo or Zipcar, because it's basically like a rideshare, but you're driving yourself.
Just a quick look here in Vegas with Turo. I mean, just pulling it up right here, they have such a wide range of vehicles all around the city. Everything from a Toyota Prius, a 2015 Toyota Prius, there's a Ford Mustang Mach-E. There's a Kia Soul, brand new. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, SUVs, all kinds, whatever you might need. And it often is, just looking at the prices, at least comparable to what you're going to find without all the hang up of going to a traditional car rental place. There's also one called Hire Car. Hire Car is unique to me because looking it up, and that's HYRE, Hire Car, is because it's specifically for day rentals for if you want to do ride share or delivery services.
Oh.
So if you want to do Uber or Lyft or Uber Eats or something like that, and you don't have the vehicle for it, well, don't let that stand in the way, baby. Just go to Hire Car. I don't know how this will, rent a car and then
turn around or rent out to other people.
Turn around and give rides to other people.
That's interesting. I don't know how many rides you have to give to actually make it profitable, but it's a lot.
I'm going to guess it's a lot. But I mean, it's so wild because if it wasn't filling a need, if it wasn't filling a gap, it wouldn't exist.
Right.
But these hire a car, if you are saving up for a vehicle, or you are just, or you live in where were we that people were just like, I don't even have a car. A lot of people we were talking to, like in New York and different places, they were like, I don't even have a car, but these services exist. So like, if you still want to make extra money on the side,
you could just rent a car for the day.
And a lot of people do make really good money.
Yeah.
If you learn the systems with like Uber Eats and things like that, this is something that fills that little bit of need.
I mean, I could see that. Like maybe you want to start doing rideshare, or you want to start a delivery service, but you can't commit to having like the nicer vehicle. So you would maybe rent another one until you can just test it out a little bit. Or maybe you already do rideshare deliveries and your car breaks down and you need something else for the next couple of days. So this could work in that sense. But I think as a traveler, it's really a great option, especially like when you go to a bigger city and you do maybe want to get out of the city and you don't want to have to go officially rent a car for 48 hours and stand in line at the rental car service desk, which is always a fun process.
So whether you are looking for a Chevy Equinox 2025 or you want a 2003 Geo Metro, go on Turo.com, some of these other services. Unskilled Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're chatting about peer-to-peer rental services, specifically in the travel space that help, whether you are living #van life or...
You like saying that, don't you?
It's one of my favorite things to say. I'll say it sometimes, I'll work it into regular conversations.
You said it the other day when we were talking. Do you remember that? Yes. We were talking about something and you were like, I was like, oh, it's a beautiful day outside. And you're like, #van life. It didn't even make sense.
It doesn't. I worked it into a PowerPoint presentation once. It's weird how it operates in my mind. But these services are designed to help kind of fill those needs if you are living life on the road, whether in an RV or van life, like I said, or, if you just like doing weird things like swimming in other people's pools. Swimply, Get My Boat, Boat Setter, help with water adventures, Verbo. We talked about AirBNB, and we are going to get into some camping ones and everything. But first, before we get into camping, let's talk about the RV life. We discuss it a lot. We have some wonderful episodes, past episodes, chatting with the incredible people at The Dirt, talking about their annual camping reports and the rise of another rise of RV camping and Sprinter van camping.
A re-rise?
A rising? Yes. And all of that. And just a little bit, we are going to talk with Maddi Bourgerie from the RVshare company, doing just that. So RVshare, and I mean, there's a ton of places, RVshare and Outdoorsy, and you saw some.
Oh yeah, there's so many. Outwander is one. RVify, I don't think I'm saying, or RV Easy. RV Easy is one. RV and Go. I mean, there's so many Go RV rentals. I mean, if you just look up RV rental by owner, you will. There's just like pages and pages of it on Google.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is probably one that people most associate in the travel space, right? So about 350 days a year, there are upwards of 17 million RVs in the United States alone that are just sitting in people's driveways or in those little rental barns and places like that, because people who rent these for the most part, people who buy RVs for the most part use them for specific times of the year, right? Or like, hey, we're going to buy it and pay it off now, and when we retire or something like that, they'll get around to it. But for the most part, throughout the year. The RV's just sitting there.
Right. My grandparents had an RV for as long as I can remember. And every year they would go on a 6-week RV trip around the United States. They had been to every single state. So every summer into the fall for 6 weeks, they would be gone. But the rest of the year, that RV sat in a storage unit. And my grandpa, every couple of months, would go pull it out, drive it up to their house, park it on the street, and he would wash that thing from top to bottom and then drive it right back to the storage. And it just sat there for 10 months out of the year.
What kind of RV was it? Do you remember?
They first had a smaller, like, pop-up one.
Okay.
That they still kept, but they ended up buying a fifth wheel. And my grandpa had one of those big trucks to pull it.
Yeah.
And then, so they would, sometimes we would go with them, or we'd meet up with them. We wouldn't go on the whole 6-week trip, but he would pull the fifth wheel and my dad would pull the pop-up, and we would sleep in the little baby trailer while they slept in the nice one.
Oh, those pop-up trailers, though.
Oh, creepy.
Things give me nightmares.
Well, yeah, because they had bugs.
Yeah, my grandparents...
We also grew up in Texas where there's a lot of bugs.
My grandparents had, at first, they had one of the pop-up ones. And then later, like, they got one of the big 42-foot ones later down the road. But I think it was just I think it was just like part of the pop-up RV experience that the thing had to be filled with bugs.
Mm-hmm. Roaches. Big flying roaches.
Big. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
We had the same experience.
I almost threw this microphone right there, man. If you've ever been to Texas or East Texas, and you will know about the big pine roaches. These things are massive, and I know I just freaked a lot of people out just listening.
And they fly.
And they fly.
If you did not know these things flew, they fly.
They are of the devil. I am telling you that, man. Like, you can hear them fly. Their wings.
Oh, we're probably deterring people from
yeah, a bunch of people would probably just turn this right off. But anyway, these don't have any of that. I promise you. So there's companies like Outdoorsy that have a very interesting backstory. Outdoorsy started in 2014. Basically, this couple decided to risk their entire life savings, their retirement, everything on starting Outdoorsy, where you can list your RV or fifth wheel or anything like that.
Van,
yeah, camper vans, anything like that. And different parts. They have signature destinations. They branched out. I mean, you can find them in Yosemite or Hill Country, Texas, different places around Colorado. But basically, you just rent your rig or your RV, and you can earn, I mean, they say, this is coming from their website, you can earn up to $50,000 a year just by listing and renting your RV. And I mean, there you go. If it's just sitting there, why not? Your grandpa could have made a killing.
He could have. He wouldn't. He's not one of those kind of people. But I think it goes back to my question earlier. Like, I would imagine there's a lot of insurance involved in this and a lot of waivers, because you are handing somebody a giant vehicle hoping that they know how to drive it or pull it, because you and I had an experience pulling a trailer once that kind of cured us of ever wanting to do that again.
I was never wanted to see you ever again after that.
I mean, what if somebody wants to rent your 40-foot RV and they've never driven one before, and you're just handing your baby over because you don't need it for the next 3 months?
Because trust me, if a guy like me who looks like me and walks up to your driveway and is all like, so where's the pedals on this thing? You know, you probably don't want to rent that. But a lot of these companies, and I think we're going to explore more with Maddi here when we speak to her, but they have videos. They'll walk you through everything that you can save and keep on your phone, so that if you don't have, if you're not an expert in doing a lot of things on this,
or how all the hookups work,
you can make it happen. And, for people like me that forget, you have a reference.
Or if you just want to try out RVing, here you go.
There you go. Stay right here. Sunscale Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. So glad you are sticking with us. For all of our past episodes and interviews, be sure to check us out, unscaledtravelshow.com. We really appreciate it when you do. We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Our guest today is the Senior Director of Communications for RVshare and one of their resident travel experts. We're so happy she's here. Maddi Bourgerie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, Maddi, tell us first off a little bit about RVshare for the people that may have not heard of this before.
RVshare is a online RV rental marketplace. So we list RVs from owners that own them all across the U.S. So more than 60,000 RV owners list the RVs from, every state in the U.S., ranging from travel trailers to motorhomes. And RVshare is a platform that just connects you with those owners, but also provides security and checkpoints like making sure that the vehicle is in good shape and verifying the owner for you, as well as offering built-in insurance. So it's a really worry-free way to book an RV rental for really any type of trip, whether you're thinking about doing a cross-country road trip or renting an RV for a football tailgate.
It's comforting to hear that you guys do the quality check as well, because I don't know about anyone else, but my grandparents had one of those, winding pop-up ones when I was younger that we would hop into, and it was always full of spiders. And to this day, I have nightmares about it. So thank you for doing that. It helps the rest of us sleep at night. What maybe are some of those key benefits of choosing an RV over, say, flying or staying in hotels?
I think the most important part about RV travel is it just really gives you that unique experience to really immerse yourself in nature and get outside. I wasn't an RV person before I started working at RVshare about 6 years ago, and I've absolutely fallen in love with this way of travel. I think it just gives you access to being right outdoors, stepping outside of your RV, having that quintessential bonfire, roasting marshmallows, seeing the dark night sky, but you still get the comforts and luxuries of a, RV, which includes a bed, a bathroom, a kitchen. You're not sleeping on the ground in a tent. So it's really the best of both worlds. And I think compared to flying and staying in a hotel, there's definitely some cost saving benefits. You obviously are kind of renting everything in one, so you don't have to deal with a rental car and a hotel and flights. If you're renting an RV, it's kind of all built in right there for you. You could also, make your own food in the kitchen and grill out if you want. And I think another perk of RV travel that would resonate with a lot of people is that it's extremely pet friendly. If you have a pet and you want to bring them along, RV travel is a good option for you.
The last few years here, especially in the United States, when it comes to fall and winter travel, there have been some major disruptions as far as airlines and traveling that way. Is there any benefit there? Maybe the flexibility of an RV so that you're not caught up in what seems to be, knock on wood here, almost a seasonal thing to be stuck at an airport for 24, 36, 48 hours?
Absolutely. With an RV, you obviously have the control over your own schedule. So you don't have to worry about departure times or worry about canceled, delayed flights, which has been really frustrating, I think, to people over the holiday seasons these past few years. So RV travel just lets you kind of be in charge of your own itinerary and make stops where you want to make stops. There's also no waiting around, kind of just get your RV, jump in and hit the road. You can kind of navigate based on where you're headed, whether it's kind of taking more the scenic route, navigate around that traffic, that holiday traffic, and make a big trip out of it, have fun, spontaneous stops along the way. And so it just really allows you to avoid that headache of air travel and all those cancellations that might come along with this busy season.
Oh, it's such a headache sometimes. It really is. And I'm not saying, but I'm definitely saying Spirit Airlines. RVshare recently partnered with Cairn Consulting Group to identify the most and least outdoor-friendly cities across the United States. When I see entries like Seattle, Denver, even Grand Rapids, Michigan, I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. But then there are some others on here that might surprise people. Were there any on this list that actually surprised you?
Yeah. So like you said, the top ones we were seeing were Seattle and Denver. Yes. Okay. We get it. Those are super outdoor friendly cities. And then those next few that kind of fell in line on the top 10 were Grand Rapids, Michigan, which I was surprised about. I actually really enjoy Michigan and kind of have come to, in the last few years, find it to be a really amazing state, especially in the summer. It offers a lot. So I was excited to see Grand Rapids on there, but definitely surprised. Nashville, Tennessee, I think that one, I don't necessarily think of it as an outdoor friendly city, but when you zoom out from Nashville, of course, it's very close to the Smoky Mountains and in driving distance to a lot of great outdoor recreational places. And RVshare has a lot of top destinations for RVers within Tennessee. So all in all, it makes sense. And then Miami was a bit surprising to me. I mean, I think when you think about, especially from a traveler's perspective, traveling to Miami, you're thinking more of the cityscape and what the city offers rather than what outdoor recreation in the area. But I think because it does have access to the ocean and to the water, a lot of times water recreation can play into that as well. So those all surprised me in the top 10. I think other ones that surprised me within the whole list was I live in Austin, Texas, Austin native, and I was surprised to see that Austin ranked at number 36 behind some other cities in the middle of the list, like St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Minneapolis. So I think Austin's pretty outdoorsy, but maybe it's because it's rather warm in the summer and we don't get, a good long months of outdoor time. But it was really interesting just to see where things fell.
There may be some hesitation for people's part, especially if they've never rented an RV, if they've never driven around with an RV. For those first-time RVers, is there any advice that you would give them to prepare them for a trip?
That's totally understandable. RV travel can be a bit intimidating at first. Once you get that first RV trip under your belt, you really learn quickly that it's not as bad as one might perceive it as. With RVshare and renting, a really cool thing is you can go onto our site and pick from more than 3,000 types of vehicles. So we have a range of options, a range of prices, and you can really look for what will fit your party best. Right. So whether that's, you're looking for a travel trailer that maybe has more room, an RV owner could deliver it for you. It could have 2 bedrooms, even a full bath. We also, have Airstreams, which are really chic and cool and kind of that old school, those silver Airstreams that just feel super old school camping. And those are some of my favorite. They're just really nostalgic and fun. So I think finding the right RV for you on RVshare is important. And then once you do working with that RV owner, they're the experts of their own RV. So ask them questions, get them their advice, and let them know that this is your first time. They're more than willing to help you learn about the RV, kind of answer any questions that you might be hesitant about, and even give that walkthrough with you when you show up to rent the RV. They'll be very thorough. I've even filmed them giving the walkthrough before, so I can go back and look at those videos if I have any questions or forget how to use something. I've also researched the RV I'm renting beforehand by watching YouTube videos, looking up the website of the manufacturer, and just learning the ins and outs so that I know how to turn on the air conditioner, how the water pump heater works for the shower, things like that, just so you kind of have that going into renting. But yeah, I think, it's a bit of a learning curve, but it's a really fun way to travel and a really exciting experience for those who haven't tried it before.
There you go, Maddi. Thank you so much. Some great tips, some great information right there. Check them out, RVshare.com. Leave a 5-star review if you have used RVshare. That's as far as I'm going to take that one too. And then, Austin and Las Vegas. Sorry about the hate, right? Don't know what happened there. Stay with us. After the break, we're going to have more right here on the Unscaled Travel Show.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. For all of our past episodes and interviews, check us out, unscaled.travelshow.com. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hi.
We are chatting about peer-to-peer rental and sharing services that'll make your life easier on the road. We've got to a lot of fun ones. And now I just wanted to use this last little bit to kind of talk about the more unique offerings out there. And we've come across some really good ones. Let's kick it off with, well, there's two sites that I want to mention. They basically do the same thing. One is available in Europe, it looks like, primarily, and the other one is based here in the United States. The one based, but they do kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. The one in the United States is called friendwitha.com. Like friend with a bike or friend with a stand-up paddleboard or something like that. So that's the play on words there. And this site is one of these that they have everything. Okay?
Everything. Bikes,
one wheels, electronics like drones and things, lenses for cameras themselves, photo booths, all kinds of stuff, okay, that you might find yourself needing or lacking while you're out on the open road. And if you're in that general location, boom, you can rent something that you might need for that day.
Right. I didn't know these services existed, but it's kind of anything you may be looking for. You could go on friendwitha.com and see if somebody in that area has one that they're willing to rent. And looking at it, prices aren't too crazy, really. I mean, you're kind of seeing people who are like, yeah, I have a kayak. I'm not using it this weekend. If you want to use it, $45 for the day.
There you go. I mean, it makes perfect sense whenever you think about it in terms like that. If you live in Colorado and you have your RV on the West Coast and you're in California, boom. Hey, I don't want to buy a kayak or something like that or a stand-up paddleboard. Let me just rent one from this guy for $40 for the day. There you go.
The thing about this site, though, is there's so much stuff and the variety. Like, we can't even get into all the different things that they offer. But it's pretty interesting. Everything from, even if we get outside of the travel world, there's catering equipment on here. There, like you said, there's photo booths if you're having a party. There's like trailers to move equipment with. Pretty much anything you can think of that somebody may have just sitting around their house or in a storage unit could be on this website.
Well, their English counterpart it said, hold my beer, because this one is called ShareShed. Okay. It's called ShareShed UK. And it is basically a library of things. Just pulling up just the homepage, the different things that you can just take off someone's hands for a few euro or a few pounds a day, right? Or whatever kind of money they use. This one, I mean, they have typical things like, here's an angle grinder. It's a tool. And there's also, do you remember the big rainbow parachutes that you used in elementary school and like you throw it up in the air and then everyone would get down? Mm-hmm. There's one of those you can rent for euro.
So if you're in England with the kids and they need something to do for the day, you could go rent a giant parachute and tell them to go play in a field with the parachute.
There's an apple press. If you need to press apples suddenly.
You never know when you're going to need to press apples on vacation.
You could rent 3 clubs for juggling. There's so much stuff on ShareShed.
Could you rent, I'm just curious, like golf clubs, things like that?
Yes, they have different categories. Sports, music, traveling and camping, DIY, crafts and hobbies. Okay. I mean, you can rent tables, ladders, chairs. Oh my! All of those things. Here's a turntable with a USB connection. There's all. I mean, if you want to, there's all. I could just lose myself.
We could do a whole episode on.
I could lose myself in this really easy because this is probably my new favorite website. There's also more conventional things like if you want to rent a motorcycle and drive around. There's places like RVshare. which is you can pick up a motorcycle and drive around the Hawaiian Islands or something like that. So as wild as it might get, it still fills these needs for people that may not have the things, or you don't. If you've ever spent time in a Sprinter van or in an RV, there's usually a good amount of space, but there's not an infinite amount of space.
Right.
So like you maybe don't have the space to buy all these things and store all these things. So it's a good option there. I wanted to touch on one real quick though. This one is called rentafriend.com.
What?
They have friends from all over the world available for hire, so that if you have already rented a stand-up paddleboard, but you don't have anyone to stand up paddleboard with, you can find someone to
you know
come
what?
stand up paddleboard.
That's actually a really cool thing, because a lot of people do solo travel.
It's an excellent thing.
A lot of people solo travel, and as I enjoy being alone, but sometimes you do want to
just rent a friend.
You just want to share an activity with somebody. I mean, to me, it's like, how do you know what this person's personality is going to be like? Are they going to be fun to hang out with? I don't know. I assume there's some way to like gauge them before you rent your friend.
And there are all kinds of categories that you could fall into. Travel, which you just mentioned, outdoor, baking and cooking, sporting events, comedy clubs. Like if you want to go to a comedy club with somebody and, do that, sightseeing, DIY projects, and even a wingman category. If you need a wing, you hate going to the club and you see some shawties walking around and you're like, what's up, girl?
Don't say that.
I know, I'm trying to sound like I'm young. Or whatever people do. But like, you got to have a friend, Like
that's actually a great
buzz
thing.
to your Woody.
Yeah.
That probably didn't sound right.
But, sometimes maybe you're on vacation, you want to go hiking, the person you're with doesn't want to go hiking. You can always try to find a hiking group, or you could rent a friend that enjoys
Husbands,
hiking.
pay attention here. Rentafriend.com for all of your needs. Okay. So there's things like that. And
not all of your needs.
Well, they have sites for that, but I am not going to recommend those on air.
Different show.
Email me. No. But we don't want to leave out your fur babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And particularly your dogs. Okay. There is a place that you can rent private yards or fenced outdoor spaces and let your dog have some off leash run around time. And it's great for them, especially if you live in a van. I met a friend in our trip to Glacier National Park. My friend Andy and I, we met a guy named Ryan and his dog Ziggy, and they live in the van. And he did say to us, one of the problems he has living out of his van is that he needs to find, safe spaces for his animal to run and be a dog, right? There's a place called Sniff Spot. What a perfect name.
This makes me so happy.
Sniff Spot is a place where you can rent a yard, and it's just for whoever's on the rental and your animal. Like no other dogs are going to be rented. It's not a public. It's not a public dog park or anything like that. It's a safe space for you and your animals to run around and just get some exercise and have some one-on-one time. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
I love it. Because we did take our dog with us on a few vacations, and it is hard when you stop and even stopping at rest stops, you have to keep them on a leash, and there's a lot of other people there, and they don't really get to run around and be a dog. But going back to when we stayed on that farm in California, they had a giant open field that we could let our dog run loose in, and he loved it. I don't think he wanted to leave. He would have stayed there forever if we would have let him.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is, finding a place for your dog to just run and play and be a dog.
Now, I was wondering, and I did some research here, where's the equivalent for a cat? Do they have that?
Do they have Rent-A-Tree?
I didn't. I didn't see anything. Cats are unique creatures. We have one, and she is sweet in her own way, and she loves us in her own way. But cats are persnickety.
But there's more things like cat cafes where you can go and just pet a cat while you.
Are there?
sit and eat.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think they would all just be in a corner, like ignoring everyone or showing them their butts or something. Whatever cats do. So there you go, folks. There's a lot of things out there, a lot of platforms that you can find that if you are living that hashtag van life, or if you are out there in your RV, or just simply traveling around, you're a solo traveler, a lot of these things are, the ones we mentioned, a lot of them are based here in the United States, but a lot of them aren't. They're available around the world.
Yeah.
So you can get it done however you need to get it done. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much to Maddi Bourgerie from RVshare for spending some time with us, checking it out. Stay right here next time, right? Check us out next time? Okay, of course you will. Unscaled Travel Show. We'll see you.